What's up, guys? I'm back again with another video. Yeah, I had to take a long while break because a lot of stuff has happened. And today, as you can tell from the thumbnail, I will be teaching you how to play 7 and 7 because oh my god, I've seen so many of them just failing and shit. And yeah, so let's get right into it. Okay, let us start of what he does. So first off, his first ability is called Clone, which as you can tell by the name, he will spawn a clone of himself and it will like walk around and stuff, turning you invisible and undetectable for a few seconds. This has its advantages and disadvantages. Let's start off with the advantages first. First, you can summon a clone and then you can trick some killers into thinking that's actually you that is walking around and not the real you who is hiding or running away from the killer, so you could gain distance from them. And it's also incredible for last man standing, but we will get to that part later. As I mentioned earlier, it will turn you invisible and undetectable for a few seconds. So it can counter some detect abilities like 1x 1x1 Unstable Eye and John Doe's I forgot what the name was, but you know what I mean. Now it does have some disadvantages. You are not fully invisible, so you gotta be careful because if the killer sees you walking around, then it's probably game over for you. But if you manage to get away, you're fine. The other disadvantage is when you run into your clone and make contact with it, it will give you weakness 2, I think, for a few seconds. So that's why you have to set your clone far away and do not get anywhere near it unless you need to, I guess. But if you do while the killer is chasing you and it notice your clone is not you, then it's probably game over. Now let's get on to its uses. So this is obviously incredible for tricking killers into thinking that is you and not you in being invisible and walking around. But if they are observing enough, then they will probably see you set up a clone and then see you running away from it. Then that is a problem. But don't worry about that. There is a solution to this. Don't use it randomly, alright? Because when you use it randomly out in the open and then the killer's right behind you, then you use it, they will probably see you and ignore the clone and then attack you instead and you die. So don't do that. That's not right. Now, to use this efficiently, the only solution to this ability is by getting behind the wall and then use it, because the killers won't probably know you'll loop them or just run away or just trying to gain distance, and then you use the clone and then they will probably focus on the clone instead of you, if you are fast enough to get away, of course. It's also incredibly useful when near a lot of big objects, since you can just zigzag around them and then you'll probably lose the killer and stuff like that. So it's kind of great for losing track of the killer, because they will probably get distracted by your clone thinking it was you, and then they will like run to them and then stop and realize it wasn't you, and then they'll try to look for you and lose you. So it's a tactic I've been doing, and it all sometimes work, but not all the time. So be careful with that. It can also be useful by blocking some killers' abilities, like Jason's Gushing Moon and Cool Kid's Walk Speed Override. So it's very good at blocking those, and also very good counter to John Doe's puddle thingy. Yeah. So you could just throw out a clone up to that puddle and then you could just remove it. No problems at all. And you can just get through it and it's just gone. That's it. This can be somewhat useful by blocking some hits of the killers if you are lucky enough to block it when you're trying to like block it with your clone and stuff. But there is also one useful option. When you're low and whenever the clone is set down, then you and your clone will have the same set amount of health you were on. So for example, you're on 50 HP, you throw out a clone, it's also on 50 HP. So you can use that advantage to... I've seen a lot of 7 and 7 do this, but you can actually summon a clone when you're like below 20 health, and then they will hit that clone instead of you, making so they would be in the kill animation and you can run away, gaining distance. And yeah, that's actually a really useful tactic some 7 and 7 players are doing. I don't really do it because it's kind of risky, but I have done it once though, so it's great and all, but be careful, you could still get hit and be killed. So yeah. Now his other ability, Cool GUI, which you'll be stuck in a long windup. There's a bar filling up on the bottom of your screen, and once it gets filled up, you will be teleported to the furthest spawn from your location, and then you will just teleport there, and that's it. It can be really good for last man standing as well, since you can easily get away from the killer once you spawn a clone in, and then they will get distracted by that and try to kill it thinking it's you, and then you'll teleport away, gaining more distance. So yeah, it's really good if you know the right timing though. Next ability is Inject. Now Inject is a interesting ability, since once you click it, it will turn your clone AI to something different. There is Aimless, Pathfind, and Cursor. Aimless is you will just walk around randomly, running into walls and stuff, and making random turns and twists. And Pathfind will run to the nearest, or I haven't figured this out yet, but it will walk to a spawn point where you and the survivor spawn in, and once it gets there, it will still continue and walk and run to the next spawn point. This is very reliable and useful too. Next is Cursor, which you may know from the name. It will follow your cursor if you're on computer, and it will follow where your finger is on the screen if you're on mobile. Now this isn't really useful on mobile since it will turn your camera also, but for PC players it could be really useful if you know how to turn and use it. So yeah. Now let us see which one is more reliable. I'd say Pathfind is more reliable than Cursor, because it will just automatically move out the way and just move through objects and stuff and just make all of the turns and twists, so you don't have to do them with Cursor. And sometimes if you're in a good position and the clone will like walk and feel like it's a real player, so it's really great. But Aimless is also good for some situations as well. Aimless is good for getting rid of John Doe's digital footprints that I mentioned earlier. Or it can be useful when going down a straight path but there's no turns at all, and you want your clone to just keep moving forward that way. So you could use Aimless to make it move forward, and then it'll just continue moving forward. If it doesn't like randomly turn and bump into a wall. Cursor, on the other hand, is very useful for computer players because you can make it act like a real person, like trying to juke the killer and stuff, and trying to like troll the killer by moving into it, or even block some hits so you could either save the survivor or yourself. But do know that this will not work when before Last Man Standing, but Last Man Standing it will work efficiently because do know that the killer's chase will only play if you are getting chased and not the clone. So Last Man Standing is perfect because it doesn't play any chase team at all. It'll only play the LMS team, and it's really great for pretending to be a player. So yeah. Now let us move on to the tactics. Now here's one simple one. So you can use yourself to pretend to be a clone because Last Man Standing there is no chase team at all of any kind of killer. So it will only play the Last Man Standing team. So you could just pretend to be a clone and then they will notice that they think they are trying to kill a clone, but it's actually you who's faking it. And once you successfully do it, you could either use cool GUI or just hide somewhere. And that's probably GG's for the killer. Now that's probably all I know about the tactics, but if I'm missing any tactics, then comment down below what I'm missing and I will probably learn something from it. Now, I think this is gonna be it for the video, and I hope this helped a lot to all those 7 and 7 who wants to be mains and stuff. And yeah, so hope y'all have a great day and night, and hope to see you all next time, and peace out everyone.